Welcome to BODHI. My name's Alex Nashton, and this is my lovely assistant, Chris Yates, who will be demonstrating and very creepily staring at me throughout the majority of the practice today. Today we're going to be moving through a class designed to help you open up your shoulders, to release tension in your upper back. So make sure that you have a pillow or a blanket somewhere nearby. If you have blocks at home, you might want to grab 2 blocks. If you don't have 2 blocks, don't worry about it. You won't need them for too much of the practice today. We're going to get started lying down on our bellies. So Chris is going to lay down and show you guys exactly what we're going to be doing, but you're going to start with your right elbow crossed underneath your left elbow, underneath your chest. So we're here. For those of you that are familiar with Garudasana or eagle arms, it's the same kind of crossing in the uppermost part of your arms. So the back of the right hand slides over to the left, and the back of the left hand slides over to the right. The palms of your hands are facing up. Your fingertips are getting soft and kind of just curling in towards the palms of the hands. So there's no tension there. You let them relax. And after you loudly clear your throat like Chris just did, you're going to want to make sure that you can actually feel something happening in your shoulders. If you're not feeling any stretching, if you're not feeling any opening at all, it usually means one of 2 things. The first being that you just have really open shoulders, and that's a pretty common thing, especially for experienced yogis here. If you know you don't have really open shoulders, then it's usually a pretty good indicator that you're not quite in the right setup if you're not feeling anything at all happening. So you might want to play around with kind of wiggling your elbows underneath your chest a little bit more, or maybe wiggling them up a bit higher towards your chin, kind of moving them up or moving them down so you can find that distribution of weight that allows the heaviness of the upper body to relax down on the arms, stretching the shoulders open. And then you'll let your head relax, you'll let your head be heavy. And you might just let your head kind of hang out there in space, not resting on anything at all. That might feel good for the back of your neck. But if it doesn't feel good for the back of your neck to just have your head floating out there in space, you're going to want to use something to cushion the forehead. Chris is using a block here, but you might want to use a pillow, you might want to use a rolled up blanket. You might find that having some sort of scaffolding, it gives you the opportunity to kind of relax into it more while still being supported in the shape. And then you'll bring your awareness down to your lower body, and you'll really let the lower body relax from the hips. So you'll notice that when the lower body relaxes, the heels kind of revolve away from each other, the inner thighs spin up, the outer thighs get heavy. And that very natural kind of internal rotation of the legs will give you just a little more width, just a little more space for your sacrum down at the base of your spine. From that space, you'll walk your awareness up your spine and feel into the uppermost part of your back. And notice here very specifically which side is higher, which side is lower. Which side are you putting more weight into? And is there any particular way that you are kind of leaning away from the shape to avoid the uncomfortability of what you're feeling in your shoulders? Chris has the luxury of being here in person with me, which means that I get to pick on him through the entire duration of these classes. So I can see that he's leaning over onto his right side. So my advice for him would be to put a little more weight towards the left shoulder, which it looks like he's resisting right now. It also looks like he might be crying a little bit. Yoga is torture, people. That's why we come to the mat, to torture ourselves. I'll give you guys a few breaths here. So notice where exactly your attention is. Are you checking out to avoid the sensation you feel in your shoulders? And can you really firmly commit your attention and your awareness to the reality of your body in this shape? So the softness of your breath as it comes in and as it leaves you, the beating of your heart, the sensation, the tension you feel in your shoulders, and maybe the voice in your head that's telling you to escape, to run away and get out of this one. But through all of that, can you still choose to stay present, to stay here, to stay with us? We'll take just a few more breaths in quiet. And then you'll slowly start to kind of wiggle yourself out of it. So bring your arms out. And then switch sides. So this time, left arm underneath the right arm. Good. And they're both crossed underneath your body. And you slide the back of the left hand as far over to the right as possible. You slide the back of the right hand as far over to the left as you possibly can. And then you let the weight of your upper body, you let the weight of your arms hang heavy and relax down there. And once again, you use the support of something underneath your forehead if it's uncomfortable for you to have it just kind of hanging out there in space. And you'll bring your awareness down to your feet. You'll bring your awareness down to the lower body and let your legs relax in such a way that your heels have the opportunity to spin outward. That rolls the inner arches up towards the sky. It lets the outer legs, the outer thighs get a little bit heavier as the inner thighs spin up towards the ceiling. That widens the space at the base of your spine, and from there you continue to walk your attention upward. So we make this practice an internal exploration of the body, taking note of all of its intricacies and all of its discrepancies from the last time that we were in this shape. Because you'll notice that every single time you come back, every single time that you come into it, something is different, something has changed. So as you land in this shape for the first time this evening, on this side, with this body, can you notice how you're leaning away from it? How you're trying to pump the brakes and keep yourself from feeling the full sensation of what's happening in your shoulders? Can you give the weight of your upper body permission to get really, really heavy here? And know that these poses were not designed to be comfortable. They were designed to be confronting, so that you have an opportunity in every shape and every moment to acknowledge what your reaction pattern is to discomfort. How do you show up in situations that are uncomfortable, where there is tension, where there is resistance, where there is awkwardness? How do you show up? If you're anything like Chris, it might be with a bit of nervous laughter. See, he's doing it right now. Okay, I'll give you a little more time here in quiet. And then you'll begin to deepen your breath and slowly start to kind of wiggle yourself out of it. Maybe being very extra if your name is Chris Yates. Okay. And then from here, you're going to slide the palms of your hands to frame either side of your chest and press yourself up onto all fours. From all fours, you'll tuck your toes under and lift your hips up and back into a downward facing dog. In that downward facing dog, you'll immediately walk your feet forward towards your hands. And once there, you'll look down at your feet and make sure your feet are inner hip distance apart. And if you need to measure that, you'll take your two fists side by side between the highest part of each inner arch. And that'll kind of give you the right proportion. That'll kind of give you the right distance. So once you've got it, you'll put a pretty generous bend into your knees, Interlace your fingers at the base of your spine. Try to get the palms of your hands all the way into touch, and know that if the hands can't even connect here, that's okay, that's very normal. You'll just use a strap or a belt or even a rolled up blanket at home to have something to grab onto back behind you before you leverage the fists and the hands up and over towards the top of the mat. Good. From here, keeping the connection between your belly and your thighs, you're going to try to lift your sitting bones up higher towards the sky. So belly and thighs stay connected, and you try to lift your sitting bones up higher. Belly and thighs stay touching, you try to lift the sitting bones up higher. So in other words, you're working to open up, you're working to lengthen out the backs of the legs without compromising the connection of the front body. Your fists are still trying to reach up and over, up and over, up and over. We'll take just one more breath in here. And then you'll exhale to release your hands down. Bend deeply into your knees. Palms of your hands find the ground, and then you'll walk your feet back behind you again and move through another downward facing dog. And again, these downward facing dogs are very transitional, so you can go ahead and immediately drop your knees down to the ground. And then you'll bring your knees all the way into touch here. You'll bring your big toe mounds all the way into touch here. And I have a client who always says, I have bunions, I can't bring the big toe mounds of my feet into touch. So if you have bunions, you'll bring your bunions all the way into touch. And then tuck your toes under. So bunions or big toe mounds of the feet are touching. And then you'll walk your hands back towards your knees, pressing your hips back in the direction of your heels. And they may or may not make it all the way there. So you might just pause here for today. Otherwise, if you have it available to you, you can begin to walk your hands up your thighs like Chris is doing here, balancing the shoulders over the hips resting directly on top of the heels. And so if you're in this position with us, I'm going to encourage you to turn the palms of your hands to face up. Let your fingertips get soft. Let them curl in slightly towards the palms of the hands. So there's no tension in the arms. There's no tension in the shoulders. You let the shoulders relax down the back away from the ears, and make sure that your breath is continuous. So like I said at the beginning of the practice, yoga is torture. That's why we're all here. And so the sensation you might be feeling in the soles of your feet could potentially be very excruciating right now, and that's a very normal reaction to this shape. But through that reaction, can you still choose to stay in it just a little bit longer, to keep yourself breathing, to keep your breath continuous? Take another inhale. And then exhale, slowly walk your hands out in front of you again. When you get there, you can untuck your toes and very gently pat the tops of your feet down on the floor. So bringing some energy, bringing some life back into your feet, and then big toe mounds and or bunions come to touch. Your knees are still connected. You're gonna press your hips back towards your heels again, this time with the tops of the feet on the ground. But you'll continue to walk your hands back towards your thighs, so you're coming to sit up onto the heels as much as you possibly can. And note that once again, you might just be here. This might be all you've got today, and that's totally fine. Otherwise, you can keep working into it, keep working to open the tops of the feet and the ankles a little bit more by walking your hands back behind you like Chris is doing, and maybe even lifting the kneecaps up off of the ground. And so if that's the option that you're taking, you also can find some small circles here. So moving the knees around a few times in one direction, and then moving them around the other way. Maybe staring up at the ceiling like Chris is for some unknown reason. And then you'll slowly ease your knees back down, walk yourself forward, and then pick up just one foot off of the ground, circle out that ankle a few times. So moving it in one direction, and then put the top of your right foot back down, and we'll switch sides. So left foot comes up, and you switch the circles. So just bringing some life, just bringing some energy back into your feet again. Beautiful. So from here, you can sit your hips over to one side, and you'll swing your legs around in front of you. And then I'm gonna give you guys some options for this next shape. The first one would be to bring the sole of your right foot to your inner left thigh. So that's option A. Option B, if you're wanting to open up the top of the thigh, the hip flexor a little bit more, would be to take the top of your right foot to the ground directly beside your right hip. So your heel is facing up towards the sky. The sole of your right foot is facing up towards the sky. The shoelace part of your foot and all 5 toenails are down on the ground. So this is option B. This is option number 2. The third one would be to find even more of an opening in the hips by taking your right knee out to the right. So again, the top of my foot is still on the ground. My heel is still beside my hip, but I'm taking it out wide. Either way, whichever variation you found yourself in, you're gonna turn your chest to face your left leg and really try to square your chest over your left toes so your collarbones are moving out from either direction. You have space across the front of your chest. And then note what exactly is happening in your lower back here. For many of us, if there is tightness in the hamstrings or in the lower back, you're gonna find this rounding here, this curving down of the lowest part of the spine, almost like your tailbone could tuck under. And really, that doesn't enable us to move forward at all in this shape. So we wanna try to get up over the pelvis as much as we possibly can. In other words, you wanna work to press your pubic bone down towards the floor and revolve your sitting bones back behind you. And that might mean that you need to elevate your seat up onto a pillow or maybe even 2 pillows to find that little tilt forward. But once you've got it, whatever variation you've landed in, you're gonna start to slowly walk yourself in the direction of the left leg, keeping the length in your spine. So the legs are relaxed here. You're not flexing the left toes. You're not pointing them. The left thigh is not engaged here. You're just moving in the direction of the leg, keeping length for as long as you can. And when you get to that point where you can't maintain length anymore, you let everything in the upper body round and relax down. You'll use the support of 1 or maybe even 2 blocks underneath your forehead. And if you don't have blocks, you can definitely use your pillows, you can use your shoe boxes, you can use whatever you've got available at home. But finding that scaffolding, finding that support enables the upper back to fully relax and release here, which is what we want. So rather than just letting your upper body hang out in space, try to find as much support as you can. And that might mean that you have multiple blocks stacked one on top of the other, and you might not necessarily be getting very far forward, but that's okay. And then you'll let your arms relax, you let your hands relax, you let your shoulders get really heavy here. You bring your awareness down to the base of your spine, and from the base of your spine, you walk your attention upward, feeling into the various parts of the back body. And noticing the parts that feel a little extra tight, where there is resistance, where there is a feeling of stuckness. And as you encounter those parts, you'll make sure that you're still breathing, that your breath is still continuous. You'll notice your reaction to the sounds you hear in the room around you, the sound of weird banging pipes here at Yoga Salt. And through your reaction, through your awareness to all of those things happening, you'll still choose to stay focused, to stay present, to welcome each interesting sound in as a part of the present moment rather than something that takes you away from your practice. I'll give you a little more time here. So make sure you're still breathing. And then find first the palms of your hands down on the ground. Press down through the palms of your hands and slowly ease yourself all the way up to sit, 1 vertebra at a time, until you're upright again. And once you're upright, if your leg was in this position that I'm in right now, whether it's out to the side or your knee is forward, I'm going to invite you to take your hand underneath your right thigh, just above your right knee and lift your knee up until the sole of your foot finds the ground. That position tends to be a little tender and sensitive in the right knee, so you'll slowly start to extend that right leg forward, and then just give yourself a moment to flop your feet in and out a few times to bring some energy back into the legs before we move over to the other side. So again, option A on this side would be to connect the sole of the left foot to the inner right thigh. Option B would be to take the top of your left foot to the ground just outside of your left hip with your knee still facing forward. Option C would be to bring your left knee out to the left. Again, the top of my left foot is still on the ground next to my hip. Either way, you're going to square your shoulders over your right leg so you find length in your spine, you find width across the collarbones. Let the right leg stay nice and relaxed. And then keeping the length in your spine, you again establish that little tilt in your pelvis forward so the pubic bone revolves down, the sitting bones revolve back, and then maintaining length, you slowly start to ease yourself forward. When you get to that point where you can't maintain the length anymore, you let everything in your upper body round and relax down. You use the support of your block or your blocks if you were using them before, or even your pillows stacked one on top of the other. You make sure that you've got some sort of scaffolding, that you've got some sort of support. And then make sure you're still breathing, that your arms are heavy, that your elbows are hanging heavy, that your right leg is still relaxed, that your toes are kind of just falling off to the right side, that your knee is kind of revolving outward ever so slightly. No tension in the leg, no engagement in the right thigh. And so I'll give you just a little more time here. So stay as you are and begin to deepen your breath. Take a full inhale and a full exhale. Find first the pressure of the palms of your hands rooting down. And with that pressure through the palms of your hands, you'll slowly start to ease yourself up to sit again. And then you'll take your left hand to the underneath of your left knee, underneath of your left thigh, and draw your knee up so the sole of your left foot finds the ground. From there, you very gently begin to extend your left leg. And then you'll start to kind of wiggle it from side to side. You let the left toes relax. You let the left leg jiggle out to get some energy back into it, get some life back into it. Good. And then go ahead and bend into your knees again so the soles of your feet find the ground. If you were sitting on something, you might want to scoot your butt off of that and slide it out of the way. From here, soles of the feet are on the ground, your hands are on the backs of your thighs. You're going to roll yourself down one vertebra at a time until you're completely flat on your back. And once you're on your back, you'll bring both knees into your chest. Let your lower back round. Grab onto your shins with your hands, and then just start to circle your knees around a few times in one direction and then a few times the other way. From here, you're going to find a happy baby pose. So you're going to bring your knees a little bit closer towards your armpits and reach for either the backs of your knees, your ankles, or the pinky toe sides of your feet. And with that grip, you'll really work to find a 90-degree bend in your knees as much as you possibly can. So the knees come down in the direction of the armpits, but the ankles work up directly over the knees. And then you'll try to press your sacrum. You'll try to press that flat triangular bone at the base of your spine, just above your tailbone, down onto the ground beneath you. But as the sacrum presses down, see if you can find a little more arch in your lower back. So the tiniest bit of space between your lower back and the ground, just enough that I could slide the palm of my hand underneath you. Your shoulders plug down into their sockets. They draw down your back away from your ears. Take another breath in. And then exhale, let your feet relax down, let your legs lengthen. Let the palms of your hands face up beside you, and optionally here you can bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your chest. And then you're going to want to make sure that you're really as comfy as you possibly can get here. So I usually recommend sliding a pillow underneath the knees, just because when the lower back is tight or the lower back is any pain, finding a little bit of a bend in the knees enables it to relax. And then you'll also want to be sure that the back of your head is supported by either a rolled up blanket or another pillow. And finally, you'll cover yourself with a blanket, even if you're feeling warm from the movement portion of this practice. Our bodies do lose heat as we begin to relax the nervous system. So covering yourself with a blanket helps you keep the contained heat in. It's also very soothing for the nervous system to have the skin covered. And so once you've tucked yourself in, or once I've tucked you in, you'll get out all of your last minute fidgets and wiggles. And then when you're ready, you find your way into stillness. And in that stillness, you let go of any lingering tension in the tops of your shoulders or in the sides of your neck. You give the upper body permission to relax down towards the ground and get heavy. You let the back of your head get heavy, your heels get heavy. Your whole body kind of just melting into the floor, sinking into it like you would sink into warm sand. And with that heaviness in the back plane of your body, you'll also feel your front body simultaneously getting lighter. As if every breath in could give you a little more space. As if every breath in enabled you to take up a little more space in the room. So if you're unfamiliar with the yoga nidra practice, nidra is the Sanskrit word for sleep. In this practice, we are teaching our bodies how to sleep while our minds stay alert and focused. And so you might actually fall asleep during the practice, and that's okay. If you do, don't try to make up what you missed. Just come back in again and listen to the sound of my voice whenever you remember. You'll start by listening to all of the sounds you hear within the space around you. So here at Yoga Salt, we can hear the sound of a skateboarder in the parking lot. We can hear water trickling through the pipes. Electricity kind of running through the building. occasionally a car driving by. And as you scan your attention through the sounds you hear within your own home space, you'll keep your awareness going from sound to sound, continuing to listen for the softest and most subtle sounds you can hear within that environment, rather than latching your attention onto any sound in particular. You keep it continuous, you keep it moving. And in the same way, you begin to refine your circle of awareness and listen for just the sounds you hear within the container of your own body. You listen for the sound of a breath in. You listen for the sound of a breath out. The sound of your heartbeat, maybe a ringing in your ears. Listening for any other internal sounds. And from this place of increased focus, from this place of attention and intention, we'll move through a rotation of consciousness. One where I'll call out different parts of the body, and you don't have to move these parts, you don't have to change these parts. Just simply notice each one that I call out. Notice what you feel there, the sensations that exist. You'll begin by bringing your attention to your right hand. What sensation do you feel there? And that could be pulsation or itching, tingling or heat. You might feel numbness, magnetism, or radiance. You might not feel anything, and that's okay. Without making something up that doesn't actually exist, simply notice what you feel in your right thumb, your index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and pinky finger. Feel the palm of your right hand, the back of your right hand. Move your awareness through your wrist and feel your forearm, right elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit. Move your awareness through your right side rib cage and your right side waist. Feel the right side of your pelvis, right hip joint, top of your right thigh and right knee, shin, ankle, Heel of your right foot, sole of your right foot, top of your right foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. Feel your entire right side body all at once. Feel your entire right side body all at once. Now shift your awareness over to your left side body. And very specifically feel your left hand. Feel your left thumb. Index finger. Middle finger. Ring finger. And pinky finger. Feel the palm of your left hand, back of your left hand, left wrist, left forearm, left elbow, left upper arm. Move your awareness through your left shoulder and feel your left armpit, left side rib cage, left side waist. Feel the entire left side of your pelvis and your left hip, top of your left thigh, left knee, shin, ankle, heel of your left foot, sole of your left foot, top of your left foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. Now feel your entire left side body all at once. Your entire left side body all at once. Now shift your awareness down into the back plane of your body and simultaneously feel the soles of both of your feet. Feel both of your heels together. Both of your calves all at once. The backs of both knees, the backs of both thighs. Feel the entire back of your pelvis, your tailbone, your sacrum. And then draw your awareness up the entire length of your spine. Feel the entire length of your spine. Feel your lower back, your middle back, and your upper back. Draw your awareness through the back of your neck. Feel the back of your head, the crown of your head, and your entire scalp. Move your awareness through your forehead and feel your right eyebrow, your left eyebrow, and the space between both of your eyebrows. Right eyelid, left eyelid, right eye, left eye, right cheek, left cheek, right ear, left ear. Feel your right nostril. Feel your left nostril, your top lip, bottom lip, your chin and jaw. Feel your tongue. The roof of your mouth. The inside of your throat. Feel the right side of your neck. The left side of your neck. Right side of your chest. Left side of your chest. Center of your chest. Right side of your rib cage. Left side of your rib cage. Your belly. Become aware of the movement of breath in your belly, in your rib cage, and in your chest. And very specifically, notice the breath at its point of entry, moving in and out of the nose. Moving in and out of your nostrils. And holding your awareness at this point, begin to count each cycle of breath backwards, beginning with the number 11. So it'll be 11 inhale, 11 exhale, and so on. If you lose count, go back and start over again at the number 11. Let go of your count wherever you are. And as we transition into a pairing of opposite sensations, we'll begin the process of diving deeper into the mental, emotional body. You'll start first by imagining your body getting very, very heavy. Imagine your arms getting heavy and your legs getting heavier. Your heels and the back of your head with every breath out, getting heavier and heavier and heavier until you feel so heavy it's as if you could sink into the floor and leave an imprint there. Call on a feeling of heaviness now. And just as quickly as you call it in, you release it. And imagine yourself getting lighter. Your arms light, your legs light, your fingertips and toes and all of the tiny muscles of your face with every breath in, getting lighter and lighter and lighter until you feel so light. It's as if you could float up off of the floor and hover between the earth and the ceiling. Call on a feeling of levity, of lightness now. And then release it. And allow yourself to very quickly move between the two, feeling heavy and then light, heavy and then light, heavy, light. Let go of both of those opposites and settle your attention back to a place where you feel neutral and balanced. And from that very balanced place, you'll imagine your body getting very, very hot. What does the sensation of heat feel like in the physical body? What does it feel like in the mental, emotional body? And what is your most immediate reaction to heat? Do you feel it in your hands? Do you feel it in your gut? Does it make your cheeks warm? Does it make you break a sweat? The physical and mental sensation of heat. And just as quickly as you call it in, you let it go. And imagine yourself cold, What does it feel like to be cold? How does that manifest in your fingertips and in your toes? What does it feel like in the muscles of your face? How does it change the pathway of your breath to be cold? And then you'll release it and allow yourself to very quickly move between the two, feeling hot and then cold, hot and then cold, hot, cold. Bring your awareness back to a place where you feel neutral and balanced, where you feel very comfortable, neither too hot nor too cold. And from that place, we'll move through a series of rapid visualizations where I'll call out different images designed to unlock any stuck emotions or memories in the subconscious and unconscious mind. And you don't have to linger on any memory that arises for too long, but instead try to keep following the sound of my voice with each new image that I call out. You'll start by first envisioning a Krispy Kreme donut. The smell of gasoline. The feeling of sand between your toes. A smoky gray oval. The color purple. A snake slithering through tall grass. A yellow rubber duck. The sound of a dog barking. Your favorite flavor of ice cream. A lemon tree. And yourself lying here exactly as you are. As you rest in the wake of that entire experience, you notice what thoughts, what memories, what emotions become most easily available for you to see. But rather than latching your attention onto any one particular memory or emotion, you'll keep it going. You'll keep observing. And then like you are blowing out a candle, you let all of it go. You let it dissipate and fade away. And feeling into the parts of your body that are supported by the ground beneath you, feeling the weight of the blanket covering you and the sensation of your skin in contact with the air around you, you begin to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Begin to wake your body back up again. You can circle out your hands, circle out your feet. And in your own time, you'll gather your knees into your chest, keeping your eyes still closed. You'll roll over onto one side, whichever side you'd like. And pressing down through one hand at a time, you'll ease yourself up to sit. Bring the palms of your hands to touch at the center of your chest. Release your chin down, let the back of your neck lengthen, and thank yourself for taking the time to practice today, to move your body, to move your mind, and to be a part of this virtual community that we have here at BODHI. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.